This is a video by Richmond. Today we're working on a Chevrolet Lumina. This one happens to be a 1997 model. And we're changing out the power steering pressure line today. First thing we need to do is get the vehicle up in the air so we can get underneath it. I've got it on ramps. And next we're going to be taking off the recovery coolant tank to give us a little extra clearance to get the top of the line off. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this brace right here, and it's held on by three 13mm head screws. Now after we get that brace out of the way, we want to remove the coolant reservoir here. There is a 10mm head nut right here. Take that out of the way. And then the line that goes to the radiator. A little clamp here. We can slide that back. Slide the hose off. And now we have two little push pins. One is down here, way down here on the bottom. There's that one, and there's a smaller one right here. Remove that. Now we can remove our coolant tank. Now right here is the pressure line where it connects to the pump, and the fitting right here is a 16mm hex on there. So we'll use a 16mm open end wrench. There will be a O-ring underneath there. Okay. Now you do want to put a container underneath there to catch some of that fluid that comes out. Now here is the pressure line that goes on to the steering box. Now what I've done here is, you can see I've cut the line off, and I'm going to use a 18mm deep socket and a ratchet to remove that. Reason being is it's very tight down here, and if you use an open end wrench, you'll probably round the corners off on the fitting. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, it's going to be a little difficult to see what I'm doing here, but I've got the ratchet here, so you can just see that with a 18mm deep socket on it. And make sure you're on there good. There we go. Of course, when you put your new line on, you'll be able to use the open end wrench to tighten that. And there it is. Now before you pull the line out, there is a little zip tie down on the steering box. Cut that off if it's still there. And there's a little clip right here on the back of the alternator. Make sure you pry that line off of there. And you should be able to feed the line out. Now, just try to remember how it went in there. And there it is. Okay, we got our new line here, all ready to go in. And we want to feed it through this line right here, this electrical connection. And that will go down there. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go underneath and we're going to feed that next to the connection on the steering box. Now what I did is that line didn't have the new O-rings in place because I didn't want to cut them going in there. So make sure you put your new O-rings on, lube them with some power steering fluid, and then just connect the connections up to the steering box and the power steering pump. Now after you get the connections all tightened on the power steering pump and the steering box, fill up your reservoir up to the proper height with your power steering fluid, and then of course you'll have to drive it and it will groan because there will be air in the system. But once the air has been purged out, the steering should be back to normal. And just replace your coolant reservoir, and that's it. They said this was a tough job. No problem. That's all there is to replacing your power steering pressure line on your Chevrolet Lumina.